Good morning, everyone. May 29th, 2020, and welcome to episode 9 of the Project 2020 show. Hey, another day, another record. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. We achieved our goal of being at 700 subscribers by the time I started recording this episode. If you are not subscribed, please hit that button because our next goal is to be at 800 by this time tomorrow morning. Thank you so much. Now let's get to Project 2020. So here we are, the end of another exciting week of Project 2020. They just announced the Don Mattingly Mr. Cartoon and the Frank Thomas Fucci. So two great interpretations of the card. And as I called it in my tweet, Casual Friday. You know, very, very interesting interpretations of both cards. We'll cover them here in a second. But I did want to start with something that I mentioned at the end of the video yesterday that got a lot of comments or just a couple of questions about. And I made the comment around the bundles being the worst deal. What I was talking about are the 2-card bundles for $35. There were some people out there saying that the print run for the Ryan was very high because of the bundle. And all I was trying to communicate was, if you are buying this in bulk, you are not buying the bundle. You're not buying the 2 cards for $17.50. You're buying 10x, 20x, 30x. So when I talk about bundles, I'm only ever referring to the 2-card bundle on the website, not a 10x slot or 20x, whatever that could be. So if there's any questions about what I was referring to, it's about the bundles and not lots. So where have we been this week? Where are we going? And what exciting news is out there? And to me, the most exciting news is the fact that 5 different cards went live yesterday on eBay. And that is up to card now 58 is in hand. All of those showed up within the past 24 hours. So that is fantastic to see. And you know my affection for live cards in the flip game. I think those are the safest route versus the cards that are not out yet. I also received notification that cards 61 and 62 were shipping. I was supposed to have them today, but it didn't appear that FedEx actually had the package last night. So maybe I'll have it on Monday, or I'll be surprised this evening and it shows up. But right now, it looks like they're moving very quickly on these print runs. And then looking forward to next week, we do have card 100 coming out. It is Blake Jameson's Mike Trout interpretation. There's going to be a ton of press behind that. And there is apparently a bin baller element to this card. So you talk about an artist collaboration. That is just another great thing about this project, to now see 2 artists combined into a card, however small or however large it's going to be. So that'll be exciting for next week. But let's take a look back right now where we came this week, and let's look at some pre-order numbers and some sales projections. Also, if you're thinking or asking where do all these graphics come from or the numbers, please check out the website, crtsportscards.com. Go to my Project 2020 page, and it has everything there for you. And you can quickly reference any number that I talk about here on the show. So here we are. This is now basically my favorite sort of chart I'm looking at every single day. And it was exciting to say yesterday in the video that, you know, the Koufax and the Williams are going to end, you know, between 40 and 45,000, and they both came in at 41,000 and 43,000. So that was very, very nice to see. The interesting part here is, look again, 1.54% was basically, or 1.5% is what we're seeing on eBay versus a total print run. So, you know, on the Fucci at 4%, now we're down to 1.5 on the Koufax and the Williams. So are we going to see that continue? Where's that going to be going forward? You know, as these print runs continue to stay inflated comparative to the beginning, where are we at with this, with these numbers? So take a look here. We have Rivera coming in last night at 11 o'clock at 536 pre-orders, and then Ripken, the Don C at 710. I think we all knew that the Don C card was going to be the leader of the two. There's a lot of pent-up desire for Don C's cards, and there's no surprise that Ripken, you know, continues this trend or continues to lead for Don C here over Mariano Rivera. And then JK5, for some reason, just his designs have not resonated as well as others have so far, although I think they're fantastic. Maybe it's because he's a tattoo artist and tattoos are a different thing. It's hard to say. I don't know, but it's interesting to see JK5 be not as successful right now in print runs than Don C or in general. But look, from a prediction perspective, look, I nailed yesterday's. I'm not always going to be right all the time, but when you factor in the math and you factor in the demand right now for the product, you know, if you see Mariano Rivera, JK5 come in at 35,000, 36, maybe up to 40. I think that's not a surprise there, but I like that 35,000 range. And then on Ripken, I think you're looking at anywhere from 45, 50, maybe 52. I could even see as low as 43, but he is a little bit ahead of Koufax right now when it comes to the pre-orders on eBay. But I think anywhere 45, 52, 53 is a comfortable range for him. But then again, this one could spike because it's Don C's second card, and there are a lot of Don C fans out there. So, at the same time, this could surge. It's unknown at the moment on the top servers how those sales have gone. But I think comfortably 45, 50, 50,000 plus on the Ripken. Now, obviously, let's move over to today's pre-orders. So no real surprises here. We all figured that Derek Jeter would lead the way over Tony Gwynn. I just personally felt it'd be a lot closer after 24 hours. I understand New York, San Diego, Derek Jeter, Tony Gwynn. But to me, when you look at the cards and the artists involved with the cards, to me, I thought it would be closer. But at the moment, Jeter over 600 pre-orders, second most this week, second to only Griffey. But everyone will be second to Griffey for the time being. And then you have F.Dot's Gwynn at just over 300. So that's the lowest pre-ordered amount so far after this week within the first 24 hours. So it'll be interesting to see where Jeter ends up after tonight. And same with the Gwynn. But I am a little surprised at the gap. And then also the Don Mattingly today looks very similar to the Jeter. But let's get to that Mattingly right now. So here it is, card number 95, Mr. Cartoon's interpretation of Don Mattingly's rookie card. So many great things about this card. The subway, the Hitman, Mr. Cartoon's name, the lettering, the 23, everything is fantastic about this card. But let's take a look at how we got here with Mr. Cartoon. So here are Mr. Cartoon's cards up to this moment. And of course, look, no surprise. This is his fifth card of the week. But he's had the progression up when you look at the print runs and you look at his cards. But his first card was Roberto Clemente at 10. Then he had about a 30-card layoff. He went back with George Brett. Then we had Dwight Gooden, and we recently had Jackie Robinson. So he's had 3 cards here land rather quickly over the past 25, 30 cards. But from a print run perspective, also a very nice upward slope. Clemente, his first one, 1844. Brett at 2360. Dwight Gooden had 5,000. We're seeing spikes in that card right now. And then Jackie Robinson at 11,600, which beat out the Mays. But let's take a look at Don Mattingly's history so far. Here is Don Mattingly so far, and I will say the card this morning from Mr. Cartoon is, to me, the first true interpretation of this card. Yes, the Jameson moved the images around, but I do like this card the most of all the Mattinglys. But his first card was Keith Shore, 1686. Then we had Jameson at 33, King Saladin at 47, and then Sif recently with that very even 7,900. His first card at 13, he printed 1686. The average then was 1561, so 8% over the print run. Second card, 2409. The print run average then was 2010, so 20% over the average. His third card, 2763. The average then was 2437, so 13% over. And then his last card was 19% over the print run average from 57 and on. And it was 7,900 versus an average of 6636. So simply put, Mattingly is going to perform over expectations. If you were expecting a short print here or a number under the average, I just don't see it in the works or in the cards for Don Mattingly. Every single card is performed, and with Mr. Cartoon having the first true interpretation of his card, along with Jeter being up right now, I think it's game over on this card. There's just going to sell way too many, but it'll be exciting to see what happens on Sunday morning. And now let's dive into card number 96. If there is one artist that I thought would not put his name on the card, it was going to be Fucci, just because of his goal of being anonymous, not painting faces. I was like, he has to not put his name on the card, but he put the name on the card. It is what it is, as I say, and this is just a fantastic interpretation, very colorful, very reminiscent of the card itself when it comes to Frank Thomas. But how did we get here with Fucci? So here's Fucci's first 4 cards, and I think it's love or hate. We didn't love Fucci until Mike Trout came out, and it's very simple. Cal Ripken, number 5, Ted Williams at 34, Mike Trout at 63, and then Sandy Koufax at 76. I personally love the Sandy Koufax card the best to me. It screams King of the Hill. I don't know why it does, but it does to me. But from a print run perspective, his first two cards were at the bottom. Cal Ripken 1205 and Ted Williams actually did worse, 1131. Then he spiked with the Mike Trout. And then, of course, the Sandy Koufax back down to 6,600. So it's been a bumpy ride for Fucci, and it'll be very interesting to see how this Frank Thomas does, because Frank Thomas has had a yo-yo career so far in Project 2020. And here's why I say it's a yo-yo career so far. Ben Baller was his first card at 23, 2836 printed. Then he went to Rochester, then Don C, and then Matt Taylor. So he has two, in a sense, A-list artists, in a sense, or demand artists, and you've got some smaller printed artists on the back end. So Ben Baller, his first card, 2836. The average in was 1634. So he's 74% over the average. Card 44, though, 1480. The average then was 2503, 40% under the average. Then Don C shows up with his first gold card. Thomas beats the average by 60% that day. And then Matt Taylor comes out with this interpretation. And again, it misses just by a little bit, though, but misses by 2% under the average at 8806. The average then was 9001. So where does that leave us with this Thomas? It's hard to say. You've got an artist that's a yo-yo when it comes to Fucci, and you also got Thomas, who's up and down, up and down. I think it'll be very, very interesting to see where he falls. I'll be very curious how the pre-orders land for Thomas. So there we have it. We're about an hour away from the announcement of the Rivera and the Ripken print run numbers, along with the fact that you can now purchase Tony Gwynn, Derek Jeter, Don Mattingly, and Frank Thomas on Topps.com or your favorite eBay reseller. Whoever it is, go buy your card. Have a great weekend collecting, and I will see you all tomorrow.